History remembers our brightest creations, the wheel, the printing press, the vaccine. But in the shadows, there are other inventions, born from the same ingenuity that left the world in ruins. Some were forged to defend, others to dominate. All were perfected to kill. They began as sketches in candlelit rooms, whispers between generals, experiments in hidden workshops, and when they emerged, they reshaped not just the battlefield, but the fate of entire nations. For every light bulb that lit a home, there was a weapon that burned one down. For every cure that saved a life, there was a device that took 1,000 more. Today, we count down the 10 deadliest inventions in human history, and I want to know, which one do you think deserves the top spot? Or is there one missing from this list that's even deadlier? Centuries before gunpowder, the trebuchet was the terror of medieval war, a towering frame of timber, ropes, and counterweights. It could hurl stones heavier than a man across the sky. Defenders behind castle walls would hear the creak of wood, the snap of hemp, and then a low whistle growing into a scream. Moments later, impact. Stone shattered, walls crumbled, men scattered. At the siege of Acre in 1191, massive trebuchets like Malvoisin reduced fortifications in hours that had stood for generations. But stone wasn't its only payload. Armies hurled jars of burning pitch, and even the rotting bodies of plague victims, turning the machine into a weapon of disease. It didn't just break walls, it broke morale. In an age when castles meant safety, the trebuchet proved no stronghold was beyond reach, and no knight was without the fear of the next stone. In the 11th century, the crossbow changed the rules of war. A simple stock of wood, a bow of steel, a short bolt ready to fly, it could turn a farmer into a night killer in days. Unlike the longbow, which demanded years of training, the crossbow required little skill to master, and its bolts pierced armor once thought impenetrable. On the battlefield, heavily armed knights, the pride of medieval armies, found themselves brought down by common soldiers they once ignored. Its power was so unsettling that Pope Innocent II tried to ban it in 1139, calling it an instrument hateful to God. The ban failed. By the next century, the crossbow was everywhere. In sieges, on city walls, in the hands of mercenaries. The message was clear. In war, skill and status no longer guaranteed survival, when death could come from the steady hands of anyone. In 1884, Hiram Maxim unveiled a weapon that would end the age of heroic charges. The world's first fully automatic machine gun, a device that fired itself as fast as it could be fed. It spat out 600 rounds a minute, each one finding its mark before the enemy could even raise a rifle. In colonial wars, it was unstoppable. At Omdurman in 1898, British forces armed with Maxims cut down thousands in hours. Witnesses called it a wall of lead, a storm no warrior could cross. When World War I came, the Maxim ruled the trenches. Soldiers charged, and whole battalions fell before reaching the wire. The ground became a graveyard, the air filled with the roar of gears and gunfire. It was more than a weapon. It was the industrial revolution of killing, and it left the battlefields of the past in smoke and ruin. In 1917, war found a new way to kill. Not with bullets or shells, but with air itself. Mustard gas didn't explode. It drifted, silent, invisible, riding the wind into trenches and dugouts. Hours later, the symptoms began. Skin covered in blisters, eyes swollen shut, lungs burning with every breath. Death was slow, cruel, and certain. The German army unleashed it at Ypres, and panic followed. Gas masks became as vital as rifles, but even the smallest tear could mean agony. Soldiers lived in constant fear of the wind changing direction. Mustard gas scarred more than bodies. It scarred minds. Survivors carried ruined lungs, blind eyes, and memories they could never escape. It was so horrific that the world swore never to use it again. But here's the question. Do you think such bans can ever truly stop weapons like this? Or is it only a matter of time before history repeats itself? On August 6, 1945, a single bomb erased a city. Hiroshima vanished in a flash brighter than the sun, a fireball hotter than the surface of a star. Buildings crumbled, rivers boiled, shadows burned into stone. Tens of thousands died instantly. In the days that followed, radiation claimed thousands more, their bodies failing in ways doctors had never seen. 3 days later, Nagasaki met the same fate. The two bombs killed over 200,000 people, ending the Second World War and beginning a new age where humanity could end itself in an instant. The atomic bomb was more than a weapon. It was a line crossed, a door opened, a power that could not be put back in the box. From that moment on, every war, every peace, every decision by world leaders carried the shadow of the mushroom cloud. But what do you think? Did it truly save lives by ending the war quickly? Or did it set a precedent too dangerous for the world to survive? In 1947, a young Soviet tank commander named Mikhail Kalashnikov designed a rifle that would change the face of modern war. Simple, rugged, and easy to use. The AK-47 could fire in mud, sand, or snow without jamming. It was cheap to make and easy to teach. In weeks, a militia could be armed and trained. In months, a revolution could be underway. From Vietnam's jungles to Afghanistan's mountains, the AK-47 became the weapon of choice for guerrillas, armies, and insurgents alike. Today, over 100 million exist, more than any other firearm in history. For some, it's a symbol of liberation. For others, of terror and oppression. The AK-47 blurred the line between soldier and civilian, between battlefield and street. In the wrong hands, it made every corner of the world a potential war zone, and every fight far deadlier than it might have been. Small enough to hide in a hand, cheap enough to make by the thousands, deadly enough to last for decades. The landmine doesn't choose its targets. It waits, silent, patient, for a footstep. During the 20th century, armies buried millions across battlefields in Europe, Asia, Africa. Wars ended, treaties were signed, but the mines remained. In Cambodia, Angola, and Afghanistan, they still claim victims every year. Farmers plowing fields, children chasing balls, travelers taking the wrong path. The blast doesn't always kill. Often it maims, blowing off legs, leaving survivors in pain for life. A single mine can cost less than $3 to make, but hundreds to remove. They are the ghosts of wars long past, hidden under soil and grass, ready to strike at the next unsuspecting step. So what do you think? Should every country be forced to clear their mines, no matter the cost? Or is that an impossible dream? In the First and Second World Wars, the deadliest threat on the ocean wasn't always visible. It was silent, submerged, and waiting. German U-boats prowled beneath the waves, hunting merchant convoys and warships. They could strike without warning, launching torpedoes that turned steel hulls into splintered wrecks. In World War I alone, U-boats sank over 5,000 Allied ships, choking supply lines and sending sailors to watery graves. Survivors spoke of sudden explosions, decks tilting into the sea, the chaos of lifeboats in cold black water. For many, rescue never came. U-boats forced navies to rethink warfare entirely. Convoy systems, sonar, and depth charges became essential just to survive the crossing. But even then, a skilled U-boat captain could vanish beneath the surface and reappear where the enemy least expected. By the mid-20th century, Humanity had built weapons that could cross continents in minutes. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, were rockets capable of carrying nuclear warheads from one side of the planet to the other. Launched from silos buried deep underground or from submarines hidden in the ocean, they could reach their targets in under 30 minutes. There would be no warning, no time to evacuate, only the flash and the fire. During the Cold War, their existence created a fragile balance of terror called mutually assured destruction. The idea was simple. If one side launched, the other would launch back, and both would be destroyed. ICBMs remain in service today, their silos maintained, their warheads armed. A single missile can wipe out a city. A few dozen could end civilization itself, and they are only ever a button's push away. In today's wars, the killer may be thousands of miles away, watching a target through a camera, guiding a drone with a joystick. Armed drones can hover unseen for hours, strike with precision, and vanish before anyone knows they were there. They promise fewer risks for the soldiers operating them, but for those on the ground, the threat is constant and silent. Civilian casualties remain a grim reality. Weddings mistaken for gatherings of insurgents, vehicles targeted based on imperfect intelligence. Critics warn that drones make war too easy, too detached, turning life and death decisions into something that feels like a video game. Whether hailed as a tool of precision or condemned as a weapon of fear, drones have blurred the lines between battlefield and home and brought the reach of modern war into the skies above everyday life. So here's the question. Do you think drones make war safer or more dangerous than ever before? From stones hurled by trebuchets to missiles that can cross the globe, each invention began as an idea, a feat of engineering meant to solve a problem, win a battle, or secure power. But once unleashed, these creations took on lives of their own. They reshaped borders, toppled empires, and left behind landscapes scarred by war. They also revealed a truth we still live with today. The greatest danger is not always the weapon itself, but the hands that wield it. Human innovation is a double-edged sword. It can heal, or it can destroy. And history warns us that once the line is crossed, it's hard to step back. The next deadly invention may already be taking shape in a lab somewhere. The question is, will we use it to protect the future or to end it? And more importantly, which of these inventions do you believe has had the darkest legacy?